Morning, take two. Not sure what happened. We kind of lost stuff, so I don't know. It's the weather, whatever. Doesn't matter. We're back 3.5 minutes late, so that's not so bad. So it's Gratitude Tuesday, day 2 of the choice, and we're going to get right to it. This is a section that I read the other day that kind of brought me up quick. She's meeting with a couple. The husband is an active drinker. The wife is sort of the long-suffering wife and is sure that her life would be better if her husband could just stop drinking. So she says to them, I told him about another couple I know. The husband was also a drinker. One day he'd had enough. He didn't want to drink anymore. He wanted to get help. He decided that rehab was his best option, and he started working hard on his sobriety. This was precisely what his wife had been praying would happen. They both expected his sobriety to be the solution to all their problems. But as his recovery progressed, their marriage got worse. When the wife visited the rehab facility, angry and bitter feelings would surface. She couldn't stop herself from rehashing the past. Remember 5 years ago when you came home and threw up all over my favorite rug, and that other time you ruined our anniversary party? She couldn't keep from reciting a litany of all the mistakes he'd made, all the ways he'd hurt and disappointed her. The better her husband got, the worse she became. He felt stronger, less toxic, less ashamed, more in touch with himself, more tuned into his life and relationships, and she grew more and more enraged. He let go of the drinking, but she couldn't let go of the criticism and blame. I call this the seesaw. One person's up and one person's down. Lots of marriages and relationships are built this way. Two people agree to an unspoken contract. One of them will be good and one of them will be bad. The whole system relies on one person's inadequacy. The bad person gets a free pass to test all the limits. The good partner gets to say, look how selfless I am. Look how patient I am. Look at everything I put up with. But what happens if the bad one in the relationship gets sick of that role? What if he shows up to audition for the other part? Then the good one's place in the relationship is no longer secure. She's got to remind him how bad he is so she can keep her position. Or she might become bad, hostile, explosive, so that they can still balance the seesaw even if they switch positions. Either way, blame is the pivot that keeps the two seats joined. In a lot of cases, someone else's actions really do contribute to our discomfort and unhappiness. I'm not suggesting that we should be okay with behavior that's hurtful or destructive, but we remain victims as long as we hold another person responsible for our own well-being. So I read this and realized that I think I do some of this, or maybe a lot of this. And here's how I do it. Here's a perfect example. 2 days ago, we went for a walk. And in that walk, I said to Maz, well, it was just us, not with the dog. I said to Maz.
So we were walking fast at this point.
Yeah, we were. I am so grateful that we go on this walk every day. Because we walk Lily, and then we drop her off, and then we go for a much longer walk. She's too old to walk that long. I said, I'm so grateful for this walk, because when you were drinking, you usually went for a walk with Lily and me, but you were pretty grumpy about it. And I used to worry all the time that you would never go for a walk with me after we didn't have Lily anymore. Okay, so the reason that I think that's a great example is because I'm praising him for what he's doing, but I'm praising him with the caveat of remember how bad you used to be. And I do that a lot. A lot, don't I?
Not as much as you think you do. Honestly.
But I think the question is, why do I do it at all? I've never thought about it, but am I doing it?
I mean, I'm not gonna, yeah, I still don't think, I mean, I know what you're trying to say, that you will, there you go.
Why do I ever feel the need to tell you how grateful I am for what's happening now, what's good, by contrasting it to what used to be bad? You know it was bad. You maybe don't know it was as bad as I know it was bad because I was sober and present and you were inebriated and present. But what's the point? What is the real value? And I've actually had a couple of thoughts about it since we talked about it the other day. One, I think it's because you've worked through your demons, let's say, in AA. And I've not yet done that. Despite having gone to a couple of Al-Anon meetings, it takes way more than 2 meetings. And it takes making a commitment to that work, which I have absolutely not made.
Well, I think also what it is yeah, I have what they are referred to as demons. You know, you fight your demons. It's very, 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 almost very Catholic.
Stay focused, Dr.
But that's exactly what I did, and I also had to take responsibility. You have to. One of the most important things, first things to learn as you go through treatment for an addiction is that this is your fault. Ultimately, I mean, no one wakes up in the morning and says, "Today I'm going to start becoming an alcoholic." But at the point where you've hit your rock bottom and you make the decision if you want to climb out of that hole or not. One thing they tell you first is you have to want to get out of the hole that you've dug, and then you have to take responsibility, because for the long time before that you haven't. So for me, if I hear things like that, it's almost yeah, that's right. I've made peace with myself that living with an addict is not good, and that is all on me.
But we don't do this in other areas. Like, you don't say to someone who's lost a bunch of weight, remember when you used to be fat? It's so much better now that you're thin. Or remember when you used to be unemployed? Isn't it way better now that you're employed? Or remember when you, like, you never say to me, remember when you failed Algebra 2 in high school? It's way better now. We don't do that because it's, what is the use? I think that's the real question. What's the use? And I'm asking myself this. What's the use in trying to shame Maz as I'm praising him? That's so passive aggressive. First of all, could I be more Midwestern? And second of all, what am I getting out of it? If what I'm getting out of it is that it bolsters that I was the good partner and he was the bad partner, that's terrible.
But that might be a necessary evil. Addiction is a disease, but it's a weird disease. One of my former dean, when we were talking, when I came back to work, said to me, another faculty member while I was in rehab actually had an accident and broke both their legs. And he said to me, you're going to see that person's going to get more sympathy from the rest of your department than you are. And he said to me, addiction is a weird disease. People get angry at you for being sick over an addiction than you would if you got sick with, say, cancer or breaking your leg. It's true. It's also something you have to accept as the addict. It's weird for you, but if you can find that acceptance and not start hating your partner, it's because they're dealing with something too. You've dealt with it, as Dana just said.
Yeah, I don't know. This 3 paragraphs really hit me hard because it held up a mirror to my face of things that I have done, that I actively do. I just 2 days ago praised you and reminded you how crappy you had been to sort of keep you in your place. I'm not consciously doing that. But now that I've read it,
I don't see it as, I don't take it as that anyway. Well, not from you.
I don't know. And so if we play this out, what often happens is I will regale you with how you used to be, assuming that you don't remember, which you kind of often have a hazy memory of. And then it comes down to you at that point then, in essence, have to apologize. And then my answer to you always is, I don't need you to apologize. Well, what the hell am I bringing it up for then?
Because you need to work through something.
But with you?
Yeah.
At your expense?
I wouldn't say at my expense. I'd say you're working through something.
I don't know. I don't know. The reason that we talked about this today, which seems a little bit funny under Gratitude Tuesday, is because I'm uncomfortably grateful to have read those 3 paragraphs. it really pushed me into a spot where I feel squirmy, because I realize I have probably been playing the good spouse. If we're a seesaw, I've seen myself at the top and Maz at the bottom, when in actuality, what you hope for is this. But I think what's happening when I do this is that Maz goes to the top and I go to the bottom, and that makes me uncomfortable. So I do what I can to try to push myself back
Yeah,
up.
but the point is, seesaws move. Life moves.
Yeah.
You know what the two hardest things for a human being to say, and someone did a study on this. In any language, two of the hardest things a human being could say to another human being is, one of them is, I don't know. And the other one is something on the lines of, depending on the translation of, yeah, that was my fault.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard to take blame. So, there's no resolution to this, not today anyway.
The point of that is, in AA, you learn how to take blame for what you work out what you did, and you own up to it and take the blame for it. So that's why you're not being fictitious or mean at all.
I don't think fictitious is a word.
It is a word.
I don't think so.
It is fictitious.
Dr. Mary makes up lots and lots of words.
Viciously being vicious.
I'm not being vicious.
No, fictitious is a word.
No, fictitious is a word.
Everyone Google that and then let us know.
Yeah, let us know if fictitious is a word. I'm here to tell you
and
it's not.
Check out the English pronunciation dictionary too.
Yeah. Anyway, sometimes things don't resolve in 15 minutes. Imagine that. There's complexity to life and to relationships that can't be neatly wrapped up with a bow in 15 minutes. But I am grateful for the entirety of this book, The Choice. But I'm really grateful for these 3 paragraphs, because they spoke directly to me. And I will spend more time now digging into what is my real motivation for pretty routinely praising Dr. Mary while reminding him of how terrible he used to be. I don't want to be that person. That's a lousy quality. So I'm going to work on that, and I'm grateful for that. So happy Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow is going to be Guest Wednesday, and we are very much looking forward to having our next guest on. We'll see you tomorrow.
To this too.
Have a great day.
Tomorrow.